the field. 13 starting spot will be the Chet covering. Sponsored number 14 our car. Rapid Ryan Odez goes from the inside of row number 7. He starts 13th on the field. 14 starting spot. This driver went to victory lane last Sunday night up at the Devil's Bowl Speedway. The Adirondack Auto. Mopar powered number 35 car of Mike Perotti. He will start 14th on the field. 15th starting spot, the driver of the Kendo car. That's the Rock City Rocket. The 8 car of Jack Cottrell. He will fire from starting slot 15. 16th starting spot will be Wayne Figler with the 24 car. Back in 17th starting spot is a 75 of Gene Munger. The 97 of Don Ackner will start outside of him. Then it is the 71 of Ray Zemkin, the 44 car of Josh Panisic, as we go to green down off of turn number 4. The 116 next in line as they come down here to turn number 1. That's Lucas Baker, the 19 of Todd Ryan, the 22 of David Lape, the 1S car. That is Rich Ronca, and the number 8 of Paul Sorrentino. Down to turn number 1, we've got 1 lap in the books. The 2 car of Ronnie Johnson showing the way. 3-way battle back there for the runner-up spot. We got trouble down in turn number 2, Scarborough with the 11 Vermont car. A left front tire down, and we got 1 car up on the high side of turn 2. That'll bring yellow out on the speedway. So yellow is out. Spot. Restarting from 9th will be the 12 of Jack Johnson, the 27 car. Outside of him is Ronnie Proctor. Remember last week, Johnson had to take the lead away from Ronnie Proctor in this feature event. Ronnie was running up front. Jumpin' Jack came from deep in the pack last week. Started 14th last week. Got to come from 12th here in this 20-lap feature event. 15 laps shorter, a little bit less distance to try and pick one off. He'll do the best he can as we go down to turn number 1. Green is back out. Down the backstretch they run. 3 wide back there for spot number 5. One of those cars is Jack Johnson working the inside line. Jumpin' Jack down to the bottom side of the speedway. That time it was Savoy nudged out to the outside. And Savoy is going to lose 6 spots. 7, now 8 down the front stretch. Car on the move on the inside line now is Matt DiLorenzo with the 03 car. Jack Johnson has now cracked the top 5, but the action is up front as Brett Hearn is now pulled down to the inside of Ronnie Johnson. Ronnie Johnson, a driver who had to settle for 2nd spot to Brett Hearn a few weeks back. Johnson out in front. Brett the Jet now rides 2nd. Kenny Tremont hanging on the 3rd spot with Jack Johnson closing on him. We got trouble in turn 1, and that'll bring yellow out on the speedway. Yellow is out. The 44 of Josh Panisic down here in turn of Don Ronca. The 03 of Matt DiLorenzo lining up outside of him. DiLorenzo is making some moves down to the inside on that last restart. He finds himself stuck up on the outside now. We'll see how he goes from up there. Green flag is out once again. We're back underway. Down at turn number 1 they go. RJ right down to the bottom of Brett Hearn. Goes right to the top here off of turn number 2. Kenny Tremont now finds a challenge from Jack Johnson, and they race wheel to wheel down to turn 3. Tremont on that inside line. That is where Jack Johnson has been making a lot of his progress. As now Brett Hearn changes lanes on Ronnie Johnson. Hearn down to the inside. RJ off the top side of turn number 2. We got one turned around up on the high side of turn 2 and a multiple car situation. Now sees yellow with lap number 4 on the board. So 4 cars involved up here in turn number 2. The first to pull away is Jimmy Johnson's number 70. Between 4 and 6, it's $10 a carload. If you get here after race time, which is 6 p.m., display of fireworks, and that will not let you down. Hobby stocks, mini stocks, and enduro, and the first one's on them. First beverage will be on the house. A coupon will be handed out. As we are ready to go back to green. Green flag is out, back underway down here to turn number 1. It'll be Brett Hearn showing the way. Hearn down to the inside. Now Ronnie Johnson dancing off the top side by side back there for 3rd spot between Jack Johnson and Kenny Tremont. Now that breaks into Jack Johnson taking 3rd position away, and right back down to the bottom of the speedway goes Jumpin' Jack. Brett Hearn leading the way to turn number 1, and Ronnie Johnson now going to work up on the high side in the runner-up spot. Third is Jack Johnson. Fourth is Kenny Tremont. Fifth spot is Matt DiLorenzo. Just outside the top 5 is the 8 car of Jack Cottrell. Cottrell showing back there in 6th. 7th spot is the number 1 car of Don Ronca. Riding in at 8 is the 27 of Ronnie Proctor. Now Proctor swings to the high side of Ronca and takes over position number 7. Back to 8th goes Ronca. 9th spot now the 35 of Mike Perotti, and a good side-by-side battle for 10th. Now sees Rapid Ryan take over 10th position. Ryan Odaz cracking the top 10 for the first time. Good battle back there for spot number 5 now as Jack Cottrell looks down to the inside of Matt DiLorenzo. Up front, Brett Hearn opting to take the outside line. Down to turn number 1, he'll dive down to the bottom side now, leave Ronnie Johnson the top, and leave Ronnie Johnson back here to do battle with his famous father. Trouble in turn 4, got one turned around down here in turn 4, and that'll bring yellow out once again. Got all cars on the speedway inverted. Mike Perotti making his way back out onto the speedway. And with a total inversion and a shortened distance for the feature event, really going to put the drivers behind the 8 ball that got to make their way all the way from the tail. Frank Horde way back out on the speedway ahead of your leaders as they come down to turn number 1. Horde will pull away and put some distance between himself and the field as now Brett Hearn brings the field down the backstretch to turn number 3. Ronnie Johnson changing lanes, going down to the inside off of turn number 4. As your runner-up man down here to turn number 1. Now RJ's quickly stepping back up to the high side of the speedway. Jack Johnson riding in 3rd. Kenny Tremont remains 4th, and Matt DiLorenzo continues to round out your top 5. Halfway sign to be displayed to the Jersey Jet, this time by Brett Hearn. 10 laps in, 10 laps remain as Brett Hearn, the winningest driver, looking to tally one more here for 2004. Up to turn number 3, the 13 car of Frank Ford Sr. seeing the move over flag here on the front stretch. He'll move down to the inside to clear the outside lane as the lead cars come down on him off of turn number 2. Here comes Hearn. Hearn now swings up to the outside. The battle side by side between the Johnsons for the runner-up position. Now sees Jumpin' Jack move to 2nd spot. That'll move Ronnie Johnson back to 3rd. Kenny Tremont continues to ride. Barrick there in 4th spot. 5th spot is the 03. We got trouble here on the front stretch as the 44 car of Panisic slowly rolling, now gathers it back up and continues on. The 18 of Bob Savoy, the next car that your leader will see. The 44 of Josh Panisic slowly rolling to turn number 3 will bring yellow out on the speedway. So yellow is out. Yellow out on the speedway. Josh Panisic's 44 slowly rolling down to turn number 3. The reset seen the nose of the 12A, so last he knew the 2 car was in the runner-up position. Jack Johnson, who has really made a living on the low side of the speedway in recent weeks, will watch his line as they do go back to green. So the 4 of Hearn ready to pull the trigger. Jack Johnson ready to come with him. As they come off of turn number 4, green flag is out, and Jumpin' Jack already going downstairs on Brett Hearn. Down to turn number 1, Johnson has now shown the nose to Brett Hearn. Hearn on the outside, going to pull away down the backstretch. And Jack Johnson once again right back down on the bottom of turn number 3. Hearn on the top side, Johnson on the inside. They're side by side down across the line. Side by side to turn number 1, and that time Brett Hearn will slide high, and Jack Johnson will drive by. Down the backstretch, they run Hearn to the back bumper of Johnson, and Johnson will lead the way up through turn 3 and 4. Jumpin' Jack down to the inside now. We'll see the 5 laps to go sign displayed. Brett Hearn driving it in, trying to drive it in a little bit deeper up here to turn number 1. Now Jack Johnson leads the 4-star 4 car by less than a car length down to turn 3. On the outside, once again, here comes Hearn off the top side. Jack Johnson on the inside as they put lap 16 in the books. Slower car down on the inside. That is going to force Johnson to come off the bottom. Brett Hearn had nowhere to go off of turn number 2, but to the back bumper of the 12A car. It's Johnson down low and Hearn up high once again as we start to look at the final 3 laps here in modified competition. Off of turn number 2. This time, Hearn may have a run at him down the backstretch, but Jack Johnson gets the power to the ground and remains as your leader to turn 3. Brett Hearn takes the outside line. They'll come to 2 to go this time by, and Jack Johnson slides up in front of the 4 car. Once again, Hearn going to try and get the power to the ground off turn 2. They're side by side down the backstretch. It's Johnson down low, Hearn up high. Side by side off the turn number 4. They come to the white flag this time by. Jack Johnson slides up, breaks the momentum of the 4 car once again. Off of turn number 2, Hearn to the back bumper of the 12A car, but Jack Johnson will lead him to turn 3. Brett Hearn nowhere to go but the top side. The white flag is shown to the whole field. It's checkers for Jack Johnson. Brett Hearn's got to settle for second. Ronnie Johnson will finish third. 4th spot goes to Kenny Tremont, and Ronnie Proctor rounds out your top 5. So Jack Johnson duplicates the that he did 1 week ago, and he will go to the victory lane. Jumpin' Jack picks up the win, adds to that all-time winning tally. Now 84 career feature wins and counting on the